First alert weather and live local coverage. This is News 10.
Minnesota social services, which are funded by you, the American taxpayer, are being ripped off. Federal prosecutors estimate that these criminals have stolen at least $9 billion.
A hearing on Capitol Hill over allegations of waste and fraud in Minnesota. The state's attorney general there claims billions of dollars are at stake. Good evening. I'm Ann Emmerich.
And I'm David Andrews. Those accusations of child care fraud in Minnesota have some Michigan lawmakers trying to put our own child care programs under the microscope. News 10's Riley Connell here in studio now to tell us more about that.
Yeah, Ann and David, State Senator Eric Nesbitt is demanding an audit of all child care programs run under Michigan's Department of Lifelong Education, Advancement and Potential, also called MyLeap. People working in child care say preventing fraud is critical, but not at the cost of providers.
Now, if the state came by tomorrow and wanted to audit, do you think you'd be ready for that?
Absolutely. Our philosophy here is if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And so we are always ready. At any moment, licensing could come.
Little Dreamers Daycare in Lansing consistently receives grant funding from the state of Michigan to stay in operation. Owner Jacqueline Taylor says she's always been a good steward of those dollars.
I think most providers want to do a really good job. That's why we got into this industry.
But that due diligence is being called into question following a fraud investigation in Minnesota. There, child care centers allegedly run by immigrants are accused of stealing billions of taxpayer dollars. Those concerns are now being echoed in Michigan, with State Senator Eric Nesbitt calling for an audit of state-funded child care programs. In a written statement, he said the state must ensure taxpayer dollars are being spent to help families, not foreign scammers. Alicia Guevara with the Early Childhood Investment Corporation says there is no need for scrutiny.
There is no evidence of any widespread fraud, abuse, or waste in our state's child care system. There are lots of preventive measures in place already to ensure that that is not occurring here in the state of Michigan.
Guevara says the state already conducts frequent audits of child care businesses. Taylor says Michigan can identify potential fraud without burdening providers.
We just want to make sure that audits are supporting, the industry, and they should help make things better and not overburden an already highly regulated industry and create more barriers for children and families.
As a result of the ongoing investigations in Minnesota, the Trump administration has frozen all federal child care funding to Minnesota and several other states. Michigan's federal child care funds are intact for now, although the sudden change has put many providers on edge. David, back to you.
All right, Riley, thank you. In a statement to News 10, the Michigan Department of Lifelong Education, Advancement and Potential says accountability and transparency are central to the organization's work, adding child care programs are subject to regular oversight by state and federal entities.
This afternoon, the accusations of fraud